Something deeply unsettling is unfolding across America right now, and barely anyone sees it coming. Filipino families are being quietly erased from their homes, jobs, and communities. No warnings. No headlines. Just gone. One day they're here, the next, vanished. Empty houses. Missed calls. Lives disrupted in silence. And no, this isn't about border crossings or dramatic IC raids. What's happening is far more calculated. Authorities are exploiting hidden data trails, obscure legal loopholes, and silent bureaucratic maneuvers to target Filipinos, even those who've lived in the US for years. These quiet deportations are happening under the radar. Communities are shaken. The nation? Still asleep. So here's what I need from you. Drop your location in the comments right now and tell us where you're tuning in from. Let's see how far this story reaches. And if you believe the truth needs to be seen, smash that like button so the algorithm doesn't bury it. Because what you're about to learn will challenge everything you thought you knew about immigration enforcement in America. Number 10, Houston, the quiet storm. Let's stop pretending. Houston used to be a city of opportunity, especially for immigrant families just trying to catch a break. But lately, it's turned into a silent battlefield, and Filipino families are caught dead center. You won't see it on CNN. No trending hashtags. Just real people vanishing behind closed doors. Filipino nurses, caregivers, grocery stockers. One day they're on the morning shift, the next day, gone. And no, this isn't some Netflix drama. This is real life. Now, here's the twisted part. Immigration agents aren't just knocking on doors anymore. They're playing digital detective, snooping through pay stubs, cross-checking schedules, even stalking your social media. You post a TikTok from your job in scrubs? Boom, you just told on yourself. And if you overstayed your visa during COVID? Doesn't matter if you were helping save lives while half the country was hoarding toilet paper. No green card. No mercy. What used to be the land of opportunity is now the land of show me your papers. Let's be honest, if you're brown, broke, and have an accent, you're 3 strikes deep before you even step up to the plate. Houston's Filipino community is learning this the hard way. It doesn't matter how many years you've been paying taxes, raising kids, or helping run the hospitals. If your status isn't airtight, you're on the list. And the silence? That's the worst part. No news reports. No mass protests. Just families packing in the middle of the night, leaving half their belongings behind. You ever try to fit 10 years of your life into 2 suitcases? It's like shoving a wedding, a funeral, and your kid's first birthday into a carry-on. But hey, if you're legal, you're probably thinking, well, that sucks. But I'm safe, right? Wrong. You think the system stops once it starts working? Nah. Once it smells blood, it spreads. Today it's your neighbor. Tomorrow it's you. And here's what they won't tell you. This isn't about crime. This isn't about safety. It's about numbers. Quotas. Budgets. Political wins. You're not a person anymore. You're a data point on a spreadsheet someone in DC needs to hit. So before you scroll past this, ask yourself, how many more families need to disappear before people start paying attention? If you're in Houston, look around. This ain't just news. It's happening on your street. Number 9, Chicago. Data hunting and disappearing families. Let's talk about Chicago, our city, our home. In neighborhoods like Albany Park and West Ridge, Filipino families are vanishing quietly. No sirens. No raids. Just silence. Old student visas, unresolved asylum claims, and minor paperwork errors are now grounds for deportation. Clinics and food banks are sharing data. Even hospitals are passing names to IC. The worst part? Filipinos are seen as low-risk, easy-to-process removals. The community's quiet resilience is now being weaponized against them. Meet Maria, name changed for privacy, a dedicated nurse who has lived in Chicago for over a decade. She came on a student visa, completed her education, and has been serving our community ever since. One day, during a routine check at her workplace, ICE agents detained her due to an expired visa, a technicality she was in the process of resolving. Within 24 hours, she was deported, leaving behind her 2 children, both U.S. citizens. Chicago has become a focal point in the recent surge of deportations. Cook County ranks 10th in the nation for residents ordered removed in immigration court proceedings during FY 2024, with over 1,500 cases. The fear permeates every aspect of life. Schools report declining attendance as parents are afraid to send their children out. Businesses suffer as workers disappear overnight. The emotional toll on families is immeasurable. This isn't just news, it's our reality. If you're watching this, share your thoughts. Are you or someone you know affected? Drop your experiences in the comments. Let's create a space for support and information. This is part of a series highlighting the silent struggles of Filipino communities across the U.S. Next, we'll delve into the situation in Los Angeles, where similar patterns are emerging. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. If this story resonates with you, if you believe in justice and community, share this video to spread awareness. Together, we can shed light on these silent struggles and advocate for change. Number 8, Los Angeles. From sanctuary to silent pipeline. Let's talk about LA, yeah, the city of dreams, palm trees and promises. But for Filipino families, it's become something else entirely. A trap. A silent, well-oiled deportation pipeline dressed up as a sanctuary. See, most folks still think Los Angeles is some kind of immigrant-friendly bubble. But if you're Filipino, clean record or not, you're at risk. Why? Because low risk doesn't mean safety anymore. It means you're the easiest one to remove. Fast, quiet, and no mess. You didn't commit a crime? That's exactly why they'll come for you. You've got a steady job, fluent English, kids in school? All that makes the process smoother. You're not a problem. Your paperwork. And don't think that sanctuary city label protects you. In late 2024, LA passed new ordinances promising non-cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. Sounds good, right? But here's what they don't tell you: local data still flows. From DMV records to hospitals, court systems to food aid programs, it's all still being mined. Legal loopholes make the promises worthless. ICE isn't breaking down doors anymore. They're opening files. Filipino families are being filtered out with surgical precision. No noise, no resistance, just silence. And that silence? It's strategic. Because we don't riot. We don't headline. We disappear. So let's not pretend we didn't see this coming. How many families have quietly vanished from your church, your workplace, your neighborhood? How many goodbyes were left unsaid because they were too ashamed, too scared, or just gone? And while all this happens, we stay polite. We stay quiet. We stay respectful. But maybe that's what's killing us, this constant need to not stir the waters. This is your wake-up call. LA isn't safe. It isn't fair. And it sure as hell isn't honest. Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you've seen, what you've heard. Is your city really protecting its people, or just pretending to? And don't go anywhere. In the next segment, we're heading to New York City, a place that sells itself as the face of American diversity. But behind that curtain, the same silence, the same vanishing act. Stick around. Because this story isn't finished. And neither are we. Number 7, New York City. Sanctuary turned surveillance. New York sells itself like a global hug, multicultural, progressive, a so-called sanctuary city. But if you're Filipino, that hug has become a headlock. Let's be real, what's happening in Queens and the Bronx right now should piss you off. This isn't about undocumented overstays or criminals being hunted. This is about legal immigrants, Filipinos, who've played by the rules, paid their taxes, waited years for green cards, being ripped from their lives mid-process. Think about that. You're following the law. Your papers are pending. You're a nanny, a home aide, a caregiver. You kiss your kids goodbye in the morning, ride the 7 train, and boom, Homeland Security's got your face scanned by cameras tucked in the subway ceiling. You're not just seen. You're tracked. Why? Because predictability is now vulnerability. Filipinos don't run. We work. We keep to ourselves. And guess what? That makes us the perfect target. Low risk. No drama. Easy paperwork. ICE isn't chasing problems. They're chasing statistics. Quiet deportations. Fast removals. No headlines. No protest. Even clinics, food banks, and agencies you trusted are turning over data. You sign up for help, your name gets flagged. And yes, hospitals too. What used to be a safe space could now be a one-way ticket to a deportation van. You want to know what betrayal feels like? It's waiting in line for your number to be called at USCIS, and instead, it's ICE calling first. And here's the kicker, New York still wears the sanctuary badge with pride. Like it means something. Like it protects people. But how do you protect someone while scanning their face in secret? How do you offer sanctuary when your agencies are building backdoors for IC to walk right through? Enough with the polite silence. You feel it too, right? That sense that someone's missing. That a neighbor disappeared. A church friend stopped coming. That back to the Philippines story that didn't quite add up. This isn't paranoia. It's a pattern. So I want to hear your truth. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Has someone you know just Vanished? Drop your thoughts below, because if we don't speak on it, who will? And whatever you do, don't go anywhere. What's coming next? You're not ready for it. Number 6. San Francisco. From rent disputes to deportation. You ever heard of being deported because your rice cooker was too loud? Welcome to San Francisco, where a city that once championed love and tolerance now snitches on its own tenants. All it takes is one cranky landlord and a thin wall. Suddenly, that "please keep it down" turns into a noise complaint. And guess who's getting a knock from ICE? You guessed it, the Filipino tenant who always paid rent on time. Let's be crystal clear. This isn't about illegal immigration. It's about legal manipulation. It's about landlords who want to double their rent, but can't evict you, so they call the feds instead. Immigration status is now the most convenient eviction notice in San Francisco. And let's talk about Filipinos here. These are folks with paperwork going back a decade. Nurse aid certifications, taxes filed, food stamps from the pandemic, all the proof you're a functioning human in society? Congratulations. That's now the digital trail ICE uses to find you. Here's the insult on top of the injury. Filipinos are known for not making noise. No protests. No complaints. Just head down, work hard. And now that same quiet hustle is getting used against them. Because if you're not a problem, you're an easy process. Even aid programs, the very ones people relied on during COVID, are being data mined. You needed help with rent? ICE now knows where you live. You got groceries from a church pantry? That's a pin on the map. This city talks big about equity, right? We care about immigrants. Yeah? Then why are Filipino families being ghosted out of apartments overnight while tech bros get tax breaks? You're not imagining this. People are disappearing mid-lease. No goodbye, no warning. Just gone. Ask around. That one family in Daly City? Gone. That house in Excelsior that was always full of life? Empty. And before you say, "It's just the law," remember, laws are being twisted here like balloon animals at a Silicon Valley birthday party. This isn't law enforcement. It's economic warfare with a legal mask on. Now I want to hear your take. Has this happened in your building? Your street? What are your thoughts on landlords playing immigration enforcers? Sound off below, because silence is what they're counting on. Number 5. Dallas. Vanishing from the hospitals. Let's talk Dallas, where Filipino healthcare workers, nurses, caregivers, medical assistants, are disappearing without much noise after their shifts. What's behind this? A massive audit targeting healthcare facilities across the city. The audit is uncovering licensing errors, contract discrepancies, and staffing agencies' failures that end up flagging workers for deportation. And it's not just those without legal status. Many legal residents and visa holders are terrified. Because in Dallas, one small mistake on paperwork, one expired license detail, or one vague contract term can mean the end of your American dream. Here's what's happening. Hospitals and clinics have become battlegrounds for immigration enforcement. Audits don't just identify problems. They lead to immediate reporting to immigration authorities. Some staffing agencies have been exposed for misleading workers about their contracts, certifications, and visa sponsorships, leaving Filipino workers exposed to sudden deportation threats. The Texas Department of State Health Services recently confirmed that thousands of healthcare workers were caught in these audits. Filipinos, who make up a significant portion of Dallas's healthcare workforce, are particularly vulnerable. Even those with green cards or pending residency applications have found themselves flagged for review, and sometimes detained, over technicalities. This has serious real-world consequences. Healthcare workers aren't just employees, they are the backbone of many families. When they vanish, entire households lose income, kids lose support, and communities suffer. What's worse, many hospitals are strained and understaffed because workers are disappearing mid-shift, mid-contract. If you work or know someone in healthcare in Dallas, this isn't just a news story. It's a threat hanging over every clock-in. It's a question of whether helping the sick can cost you your life here in America. What's your take on this? Have you seen or heard about these audits affecting Filipino healthcare workers or others in Dallas? How do you feel about the government turning hospitals into grounds for deportation? Drop your thoughts below. This conversation needs to be louder. And stick around, because the next city on our list will blow your mind. We're revealing the silent crisis hitting Filipino families in places you'd never expect. Stay tuned. Number 4, San Diego, the cliff's edge. Look, I get it. You're exhausted. Not just tired, numb. Like that feeling when your phone's on 1%, you're nowhere near a charger, and somehow, you still scroll Instagram like it's your job. That's exactly what life is for mixed-status families in San Diego right now. You think you're safe, but surprise. The cliff's edge is way closer than you thought. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to say out loud. San Diego isn't some shiny sanctuary city where immigration stops at the border like a polite Uber driver. No, it's more like a science lab. And Filipino families? Yeah, you're the unwilling test subjects. ICE isn't just knocking on doors, they're crashing through them, pulling families apart like it's a bad magic trick nobody asked for. And here's the kicker, you're not just dealing with immigration policies. You're juggling emotional baggage the size of carry-ons people refuse to check in. Mixed status households, where some are American citizens and others are just trying not to disappear, are balancing on a razor-thin tightrope. One misstep, one noise complaint, one wrong look and boom, family separated, kids left scrambling, futures torn to shreds. You ever wonder why the happiest people you know sometimes seem like they're acting in a play? Because under the surface, a whole damn tragedy is playing out, but they've learned to smile through the storm. That smile? It's survival mode. And in San Diego, survival means living invisibly, pretending the deportation machine isn't aimed right at your doorstep. Fast fact, ICE has fast-tracked deportations in this region by over 40% in the last 2 years alone. That's not a statistic, that's your neighbor, your coworker, your friend, gone before you even finish your coffee. But here's the part that slaps harder than your third cup of coffee on a Monday morning. Sanctuary status used to mean something. Now, it's a joke. More like a bad sitcom where the punchline is families ripped apart over paperwork that wasn't even their fault. You've got landlords, neighbors, even local agencies feeding info to immigration like it's a neighborhood gossip session. San Diego's mixed status families are stuck between two worlds, supposed citizens and ghosts at the border. You're not just fighting immigration laws. You're fighting to keep your family whole in a city that's turned its back on you. So what's your take? Is this the reality you're living? Have you seen this silent cliff edge creeping closer? Drop your thoughts. Let's talk about the raw, ugly truth no one else will touch. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The next city's story will shatter your assumptions even more. Number 3, Phoenix, the loss of sanctuary. Remember when churches were supposed to be safe? Like, real safe. The one place you could go and feel protected from the chaos outside? Yeah, well, Phoenix just flipped that whole damn script. Sanctuary used to mean something. Now it means you're basically giving ICE a VIP invitation. Starting 2025, police can stroll into places of worship without a warrant if they think immigration's involved. No knock, no hey, mind if we come in? Just barging in like they own the place. Guess what? That's not protection. That's betrayal, plain and simple. And let's call this for what it is, faith and hope turned into a trap. Candlelight services? Those stopped quick because who wants to pray with a side of anxiety about the feds crashing your spiritual moment? Families? Vanishing. One moment they're lighting candles, the next, they're lighting a new path, straight to detention centers. Filipinos, often the last to have nowhere else to turn, became the easiest targets. It's like they turned God's house into a set for a horror movie, only nobody's laughing. Imagine trusting a place that used to promise shelter, only to have it ripped away like a bad magic trick. Spoiler alert, God's house in Phoenix doesn't promise shelter anymore. You know what's wild? People still think churches are sacrosanct, untouchable. Well, newsflash, those walls aren't thick enough to stop this new reality. Police rolling in without warrants? It's like your safe space now has a revolving door for fear. You think you're protected by hymns and prayers? Nah, you're just an easy mark. If you've been to Phoenix recently, you know the vibe has shifted. People aren't just worried, they're terrified. Not just of deportation, but of losing the very spaces that once felt like a lifeline. It's like being punched in the gut and then told, keep the faith. Sorry, but faith doesn't pay rent, it doesn't stop your family from being torn apart, and it sure as hell doesn't keep the cops out of your sanctuary. So yeah, maybe this isn't what you wanted to hear. Maybe it stings a little. But ignoring this? That's just letting the nightmare roll on. Because the cold truth is, in Phoenix, the sanctuary doors have slammed shut. And for many Filipino families, there's no back door out. Tell me, what's your take on this? Has your safe space become a trap? Drop your thoughts below. Because this story isn't over, and the next chapter is going to blow your mind. Number 2, Miami. The invisible hands disappear. Picture this, Ana, 29, a Filipino woman working tirelessly as a housekeeper for one of Miami's largest cruise lines. She's up before dawn every day, juggling long shifts and a small apartment that she shares with 2 cousins. Her paycheck supports not just her, but her aging parents back in the Philippines, plus her little brother still in college. Every peso counts. Then came the crackdown. An identity fraud probe swept through the agencies that hired Ana and thousands of others. Suddenly, the stable job she relied on became a nightmare. The paperwork she trusted, work permits, social security numbers, all under scrutiny. But here's the kicker, many of these issues weren't Anna's fault. Some were errors from agencies rushing to meet demand, some were honest mistakes. Yet, the authorities don't have time for nuance. Mass deportations followed. No warning, no second chances. Just notices that jobs were gone, families shattered, and futures suddenly uncertain. Anna's story is 1 million share but rarely get to hear. It's not just a bureaucratic mess, it's a heartbreak. Because when Anna disappears, her parents lose their lifeline. Her brother can't finish school. Her cousins scramble to pay the rent. The invisible Filipino workforce that powers Miami's cruise ports is vanishing, and fast. Let's talk numbers. In 2024, the Department of Homeland Security reported a sharp increase, over 40%, in deportations tied to identity fraud probes in Florida. Many of those caught up are Filipinos working legally, but caught in the crossfire of systemic failures. This isn't about crime, it's about collateral damage. The agencies? Many still operate with little accountability. Meanwhile, Anna and thousands like her face a terrifying choice: leave or disappear in the shadows. So here's the raw truth. Miami's booming cruise industry thrives on Filipino workers' dedication. Yet, when the system flips, it treats those same workers as disposable. Anna's story? It's not just hers. It's the story of countless Filipino families risking everything, only to be cast aside. How does this resonate with you? Do you know someone facing this? What's your take on agencies' responsibility versus government policies? This conversation needs your voice. And if you think that's tough, wait, the next story will hit even harder, revealing a deeper side to this crisis that most won't talk about. Stay close. You don't want to miss it. Number 1, Washington D.C., the quiet experiment. Alright, let's rip the band-aid off and get brutally honest about Washington D.C.'s quiet experiment, where Filipino families disappear like ghosts, and nobody blinks twice. Here's the real deal. Over 200 Filipino families vanished in the last 18 months in D.C. That's right, 200. No TV breaking news. No viral outrage hashtags. Just silence so loud you could hear it echo in empty courthouses. These aren't fugitives hiding in the shadows. They're people stuck in immigration purgatory, waiting on green cards, petitions, court updates. Yesterday, they were legal. Today, they're on the chopping block. Let that sink in. Legal yesterday, deportable today. Suddenly, the rules flip like a bad reality show. But this isn't entertainment, it's cold, calculated policy. DC isn't just enforcing immigration laws, it's running an experiment. And guess who's the guinea pig? Yep, our Filipino brothers and sisters, seen as compliant and quiet. Translation: easy targets, no fuss, no fights, no messy headlines. Imagine being that quiet neighbor, the one who never complains about the noise or the parking, who's always polite in the hallway, and then bam, you're the first to disappear without a trace. If this were a crime thriller, people would call it too convenient. But it's real life, and it's happening right now. Now you might be thinking, well, they must have done something wrong, right? Nope. These are people playing by the rules, holding their breath while the government changes the game underneath them. It's like showing up to a marathon, training hard, then being told the finish line moved 100 miles away while you were mid-run. And instead of support, you get kicked out. Here's a little humor for you. If bureaucracy were a person, it'd be that annoying friend who ghosted you but still wants to borrow money. Oh, you waited patiently? Sorry, rules changed. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. And don't think this just stays behind closed doors in DC. The ripple effect is brutal. Families split, jobs lost. Kids growing up wondering where mom or dad went. This experiment isn't some sterile lab test. It's real lives, real pain. So what's next? You stay silent, or you start asking why these quiet disappearances don't get the spotlight they deserve. Because when the system treats people like lab rats, we all lose. Now drop your thoughts below, because this conversation is long overdue.